My name is Allie. I go to Centennial. I'm a junior. My favorite color is peach and coral.
Alright, so my name's Nick. I go to Frisco High School. I'm a junior. I'm a rapper. I'm dead serious when I say that too.
I was probably the most carefree girl you will have ever met in your entire life. I was so running around in my dresses, had little tea set.
I always would get up early on Saturday mornings and I would get my cars out and line them up. And I would just race them around the house.
I loved my spot. My spot was my little stuffed animal that my dad got me whenever my mom and my real dad had gotten divorced, and my mom couldn't afford the big spot for me. She could only get the little one. But I, being sassy Allie, I had sassy pants, did not want the little spot. I wanted the big spot. And so my dad now came and bought me the big spot. And so that was my favorite thing. Me and Spot had tea parties. Me and Spot would play with my dollhouses. Spot was my best friend whenever the monsters were coming to get me. Spot would take baths with me, which my mom did not like.
Legos were always awesome, and they still are unless you step on them. This is one of the Legos I built. Yeah!
I think my happiest memory was probably, my OCD is gonna come out in this. Thanksgiving, we had all of our families, both sides, coming to our house. It was the first Thanksgiving and I was 6, and I just learned how to print my letters. And so I was I am gonna make all the placemats for everyone in our family and set them out on the table right next to their forks, and I'm gonna make everyone a turkey because I was really into the crafts as a little girl. I would paint my hands and put them on stuff. Or when we first moved into our new house, I would take the crayons and draw on the walls and make pretty pictures. And so I was I'm gonna make all the little cards. So I made them, they're Kathy and Grandma and Uncle Tony and all the little placemats. And everyone was Allie, you're such a good artist. You're gonna be such a little Picasso when you grow up. And I was guys, I'm gonna be so great. I was so happy that day because everyone was telling me how my artwork was so great. And I was Mom, I'm gonna be a secretary when I grow up. And I wanted to be a secretary from that day on because everyone loved my printing. And I was I'm gonna be the best secretary in the world. I'm gonna be a secretary for the dad, for the girl in the office at school. I would be okay, Allie. I was dreaming big back then. That was probably my best memory. And I think one of the reasons that was my favorite memory is because it was the first time a lot of my family had come together since my grandpa on my dad's side had died. And so it was the first time I can remember everyone being really happy again and really thankful for everything that we still did have. And so at that young age, I was this is my part in this.
When I was a kid, my biggest hero was my grandpa, and he was always really awesome. He had that childlike spirit inside of him. Back when I lived in New York, he would take me out into his backyard and he'd get his tractor out, and it was time for the lawn to be mowed, so he'd sit up there on his tractor and I'd sit in his lap and I'd be driving the tractor. That was really cool for me because I remember I always played with toy cars, but actually getting to drive a tractor, that was a whole different story. The harder parts of growing up started October 16th, 2001. And that was the day that my grandfather passed away of a heart attack. And he was in his backyard working on his garden, doing what he loved to do, and it just hit him.
As I grew up a little bit more, I got in high school and my parents split. When my parents divorced, I don't think people realize that one of the harder things of that is you don't get to keep your house. Parents aren't just oh yeah, I'll take this side and you can take this side and we'll share all the furniture and everything. No, you move out. You have, it's, it's one life coming apart. And so with that, me and my brother and sister's lives kind of came apart with it. And so the thing that really took away my happiness with that was probably whenever we were moving out of our house. It was Valentine's Day whenever we were gonna go over to my dad's, and I remember we were like, we were trying to like, because me and my sister had gotten my mom like roses and flowers for Valentine's Day, and we were trying to have like a normal like holiday, you know, like, especially since it's like the holiday of love, like, you know what I mean, like love your sister, love your mother kind of deal. And we were all in the kitchen, and they were helping me make Matthew bacon roses to take to his house before I worked that night. But it was like really bittersweet because we're like waiting for the roses to get done baking because you have to let all the grease soak out. And at the same time, we're like, we're moving all of our stuff out of our room. I'm trying not to cry. We're moving all of our stuff out of our room and getting like our posters down and our pillows and stuff. And I remember after that day having to humble myself enough to be like, I need God, I need something stronger than the people that are going on in my life, stronger than the evil that's in my situation right now. Stronger than me and stronger than my friends, and could give me the hope that I needed, the faith in everything.
When you've been through a lot and you've got God to take care of you, you go back to that joyous, I love somebody, somebody loves me, somebody will care for me, and it's never going to end. You've got that mindset when you realize that you have God. And it's amazing.
Knowing that even if I didn't have this like picture perfect family that everyone pictures like in Frisco, like with their 2-story house and like the pool in the backyard and like the dog running around, that like I had a place in heaven, and like I had angels watching over me, and I had saints praying for me, and I had God like right behind me the whole time. That's all I got.
You experienced God's joy from suffering because you just thought you knew joy. You thought it was the best that it could ever be. It's never going to be any better than that. But then, boom, suffering hits you, and you're just like, whoa, hold up, back up. Did that really happen? And it's like, yep, it did. So now you're just like, well, crap. Life's not going to be the same anymore. It's all different. And then you just, at that point, you just want something to love. You want somebody to love. And that's when you realize, like, hey, I've got an awesome God that loves me for who I am and will never break up with me. Thank God.
I think when I was little, I was a pretty, like I said, fun-loving, like full of joy, like bouncing around. But I think, honestly, I'm more joyful now. Even though I have a better, obviously, like perception of like the like worldly things around me, I think that when I was little, it was more like an oblivious joyful. I think having God in my life made me more joyful because, like I said before, it's just like what makes you happy, you know what I mean? Like, for some people it's like, I don't know, like confetti, or like, I don't know, like a Mumford & Sons concert, or like watching a movie like with your family. It's like what makes you so happy is like those moments of being with people that you love, doing things you love, like the colors you love, the smells you love. And I think for me, it's like God loves me, and I love Him. So it's like I'm with my friend all the time. I'm doing, like when I'm praying or like at Rebel, I'm doing the things that I love all the time. And so it makes me happy because He's in my life, and it's like the ultimate best friend.